if you're a member of our Patreon group, we do giveaways, just random giveaways, an opportunity for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel. So with that being said, Tim, let's jump into it, man. How did the 2025 Packers stack up to past Green Bay Super Bowl teams? All right, let's just kind of dive into it. I love this picture here, too. I've got this printed in black and white and framed right over here on the wall in the studio. I love this shot of John Madden, Reggie White, and Brett Favre back. And I believe this was in 1996 when this picture was taken. Obviously, John Madden, huge fan of the Packers and Lambeau Field and the mystique. And obviously, you guys have seen Frank Caliendo do his bit on just Brett Favre, right? Making fun of John Madden. But, Tim, those were the golden days, man. You don't know anything about that, do you?
Oh, I know a little bit about that. I was a freshman in high school when those glory days started happening for us there in the 90s, and getting Reggie White there. How about the the classic Nike sweatsuit game they got going right there? They don't make them like that anymore. Sorry, Fanatics, but you're not doing it for me like we used to do it in the 90s, baby.
I am seeing some of the old starter jackets pop up on that website Homage.
Oh yeah,
bro, they look clean. I showed Manny, she said no. She said no. None of them look better than that Packer, the throwback Mitchell and Ness jacket you got when we were at the draft. She's like, don't waste your money on that. She's right too. That Mitchell and Ness.
That thing was sweet, man. I remember when you picked that one up from the pro shop. That was awesome. Considering there was like 90,000 people in the pro shop at one time, you were able to find that. That was awesome.
I was like, I don't know, 40 yards away, people just shoulder to shoulder, and this light came down from heaven and shined right on that jacket on the wall. And I'm like, oh, I got to have it.
And it was your size, too. The one you found was actually your size. I love it.
Absolutely. Tell me there ain't a God, right? All right, 96 Packers. Let's talk about it here. Tim, what I wanted to point out is how they started the season. They started off 3-1, right? Real close to how the Packers have started off here. They beat Tampa Bay, the brakes off of Tampa Bay, 34-3 in week 1. That was down in Tampa. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles 39-13. And then in week 3, they defeated the San Diego Chargers 42-10. So they were boat racing cats. And then they ran into a buzzsaw up in Minneapolis. They lost 30-21 to the Minnesota Vikings. They went on to win 5 more straight, including an overtime win over the 49ers. That was huge for them in 96. That was at Lambeau, by the way. And then after that 5-game winning streak, they dropped 2 in a row, on the road at Kansas City, on the road in Dallas. As we know, Dallas had their number for quite some time there in the 90s before they got over the hump. But Dallas beat them 21-6 in that game. So unless they missed an extra point, it sounds like they didn't even get in the end zone with that awesome offense, and obviously MVP year there for Brett Favre. After that, they didn't lose another game, Tim. So again, just a little comparison here is pretty cool. I know we're 2-1-1, but we were real close to being 3-1, the same record there. And there's a lot of other commonalities, right? Similarities, I guess you could say. Brett Favre, I want to say Brett Favre, was 27 years old. That's how old Jordan is right now, right?
Yep.
They obviously went 13-3 that year. They only played 16 games. But Brett had a completion percentage of 59.9%. So less than 60% completion percentage, 3,899 yards passing, 39 touchdowns, and
257 interceptions.
Yes, 13 interceptions. I was actually surprised that it was only 13. I was like, man, I figured it'd be like in the 20s. But obviously 39.
You think God never farted?
39 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, right? Pretty solid year there. So again, when you kind of break that down and you look at where the Packers are at, and we'll get to Jordan Love's numbers here in a minute. Spoiler alert, in his first 4 weeks of the season, he's got 8 touchdowns, 1 interception, already thrown for 1,000 yards. So the guy's pretty much top 5 in every important statistical category. He's definitely in the MVP conversation right now. What do you think about how the 96 Packers stack up, especially when you look at the defense as well? The 96 Green Bay Packers defense ranked number 1 in the NFL for scoring defense, allowing just 13.1 points per game. This performance, combined with the league's best scoring offense, helped lead the Packers to a Super Bowl 31 victory. It says key details about their number 1 ranking. Fewest points allowed. The Packers gave up only 210 points in the total during the regular season. They had a dominant defense. They held opponents to 10 points or fewer in 9 of their 16 regular season games. And then overall dominance, the Packers were the first team since the 72 Dolphins, the undefeated 72 Dolphins, to lead the NFL in both scoring offense and scoring defense in the same season. That's the only aspect of our season this year, Tim, that I'm like, I don't know if we can reach that with this defense. It's a good defense, but you guys know I predicted going into the season, I thought they would take a slight step back from the success they had last year. But then you add Micah Parsons, and I'm like, all right, let me just step back and see if they can do this. But what do you think about the comparison there? 96 Packers to the 2025 Packers so far.
I think that last point right there on the rankings, the overall dominance is the key. Shout out to Coach Shula and his 72 Dolphins. Leading the way on both scoring offense and scoring defense in the same season. I think, you make a valid point, Clay, when you talk about maybe taking a step back in that second year under Jeff Hafley. There's a lot on film from last year, but we also got new faces. But I think that's a key to winning a championship. The old adage of defense wins championships. I believe that's true, but it'll win you championships if you've got a high-powered offense to pair with it. And the key is being balanced on both sides of your attack. And, right now, I feel like the Packers have a really strong offense. We've got some guys that are potentially coming back from injury. We've got, first and second year players that are absolute weapons that are going to continue to develop. So offensively, I think we have a chance to run and gun with the best of them. As we saw, we, had a slugfest there in Dallas. But the defense is going to be the key. Coach Covington, Coach Hafley, once they get this defense clicking, we get guys back from injury. Hopefully, Devontae Wyatt, first name that comes to mind. Hopefully, he's back sooner than later. When you got the best of your best and everyone's playing at a high level, that's how you go ahead and steal a Lombardi trophy, man. You've got to be good on both sides of the ball. There's been a lot of talk about special teams, right? We've seen special teams mistakes, and it can bite you in the ass and cost you.
Absolutely.
But my goodness, none of that matters if you don't have a high-powered defense and high-powered offense. I'll take some special team struggles at this point. You're not going to live and die by that. You're going to live and die by your offense and defense for sure in this league.
Yeah. And if you'll remember, when I talked about I expected the defense to take a step back, they shut me up the first 3 weeks. Let's just be real about that, right? But then it came in week 4. Guys, it wasn't I was trying to be overly negative. The reason I pointed that out is because historically speaking, that typically happens. When you got a defense that's top 3, top 5 in the league, they'll take a step back the next year. And the reason that happens is because teams have that tape like Tim was talking about. Yep. They know how to attack you now. Now, you'll notice when they broke camp, Jeff Hafley said he already has an adjustment that they were installing at that moment. So the defense was installed, and then they had an adjustment. And what he meant by that, in my opinion, I haven't talked to him, obviously. He don't even know I exist. But I imagine what he meant there was when teams adjust and they go, okay, we're going to attack the defense this way, now you can flip it. All right, we got an adjustment for that. So you'll probably see that coming out of the bye. But don't get too comfortable, because guess what? Within 3 to 4 weeks, and these teams start watching that previous 4-game saturation of tape and the last 2 head-to-heads, they're going to know how to attack that. There's no perfect defense. I'm telling you, there's always a way to attack any defense in the league. It's just a matter of you staying one step ahead. And I know everybody loved the pile on the special teams last week. The reality is you gave up 38 freaking points on defense. The offense did its job. I think we would all agree, right? Outside of losing you the middle 8, and that was crucial, being too aggressive in the middle 8. However, the defense giving up those 38 points is that's tough, man. That's tough. So, 2010 Packers. Let's see how they started, Tim. They started off week 1. They defeated the Philadelphia Eagles on the road 27-20. They boat raced the Bills 34-7 at Lambeau, and then they go and lost to Chicago 20-17 in Chicago. They came back and beat Detroit back at Lambeau 28-26. So very similar to the 96 Packers start, right? They lost on the road to Minnesota. The Packers in 2010 lost on the road to Chicago. And if I remember correctly, Chicago won the division that year too. So once again, starting the season 3-1, right? And now they went on after that. They lost 2 games in a row, both of them in overtime, on the road in Washington. And then, of course, Miami Dolphins at home. Then they rattled off 4 in a row victories. Then they lose on the road to Atlanta 20-17. They won the next one against the 49ers. They lost 2 in a row at Detroit, at New England, and then they won back at home the next 2 games. And, of course, they ran the table as the wild card team in the NFC to go on and win the Super Bowl. Now, Aaron Rodgers, let's talk about his numbers. Remember, Brett Favre's completion percentage was 59%. Aaron Rodgers was 65.7%, 3,922 yards passing, only 28 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. People forget 2010 Aaron Rodgers was not 2014 Aaron Rodgers. right? And then you're wondering, okay, well, how did they end up winning the Super Bowl if I don't want to say he was mediocre, but he definitely wasn't MVP caliber Rodgers. You did it the same way that 96 Packers did it, right? 2010 Green Bay Packers defense ranked first in the NFL in scoring defense. Everybody loves to make fun of Dom Capers on the backside of his career. He was dominant when he took over that defense in Green Bay. First in the NFL in scoring defense, allowed just 15 points per game en route to the Super Bowl victory. They also finished the season ranked fifth in yards allowed and first in opponent passer rating. So they had the best passing defense in the league, essentially. So the key stats for that 2010 Packers defense: points allowed per game, like we said, first in the league at 15 points per game. Yards allowed, fifth in the NFL. Opponent passer rating, first in the NFL at 67.2. They were second in the NFL in sacks with 47. And interceptions, they were second in the NFL with 24. That's the thing that's lacking from this defense. Just like when we got to the end of the 96 comparison, Tim, you go, I don't know if our defense is quite to that level. Same thing here. We're already kind of behind the eight ball on takeaways, on interceptions. So we got to get that number. You got to start getting more turnovers if you're going to be that championship caliber defense. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, for sure. And you can see the parallels. Actually, there might be more parallels between the 2010 Packers and this current Packers team. If you scroll up to what we were discussing with the way they closed that year out, look where we are right now. We're 2-1-1. I'm Mr. predicted 4-0 into the bye, and I look like an idiot right now.
No, you don't.
That's what the NFL will do to you, though, real quick. Feel how you want, think what you want. It's tough to win in this league, but I think what we have to remember is you're right. This 2010 team took that loss against the Patriots in a close game. I remember that game, very, very tough game. And the playoffs started on week 16 for the Packers that year. They had to win or go home since week 16, December 26th. And, it's a team game. Quarterbacks don't win you Super Bowls. Teams win Super Bowls. And this was a team that clearly banded together when they needed to, and basically won 6 games in a row to bring Lombardi home. And I think you already see that with this current Packers team. You see these guys playing for each other. There's no divas on this team. There's no me guys on this team. And, we had kind of a shaky start here in the first quarter-ish of this season. It's going to be a grind, and it ain't how you start, it's how you finish. And if you finish strong as a team, try to be great in all 3 phases. But again, you got to have that complementary football. That's what that is. Your offense is going to pick up your defense if they struggle, and vice versa. So I really see that with this Packers team, especially if we can be healthy down the stretch. That's the main thing. Everyone deals with injuries, but you want to be as healthy as you can closing out a season. Absolutely.
Yep. Ed Madden says we're going to take off now. Again, that's what the other teams did, right? And there's going to be bumps in the road, as you see here, man. They lost 2 out of 3, and 2 of those being overtime losses. That takes a lot of wind out of the sails there, right? And that was so they had a week 3 loss, a week 5, and a week 6 loss. But again, man, that defense was solid. So let's fast forward ahead now, Tim, to the 2025 Packers. Obviously, you notice the theme here with the first picture we showed you. You got Brett, he had Reggie, right?
Yep.
You had Aaron Rodgers, he had Clay Matthews. Now you had Charles Woodson, who was, I think, an even better player than Clay Matthews. But again, that edge rusher is huge in having a dominant defense. And now you see Jordan Love with Micah Parsons, and obviously Rashawn Gary with more sacks than Micah up to this point. So you could really make a case that they got 2 damn near elite edge defenders on the same team. So obviously you get the season started here. You win 27-13 against Detroit at home. You got Washington at home, 27-18 victory there. You lose on the road in Cleveland, 13-10, and then you tie with the Cowboys there, that 40-40 overtime tie at Dallas. So again, very, very similar. You just got a tie instead of an extra win there. So this team is right there. The point here is some people are looking at this like you lost and then you tied. Oh, no, the season's tanked. Guys, no. Look at those other Super Bowl seasons, right? And it's not to say we're going to win the Super Bowl, but let's slow our roll a little bit, man. Packers are going to be fine. Let's talk about the projections here, Jordan Love's projections. So right now, he's 84 of 121 with a 69.4% completion percentage. Again, what was Aaron's? 65. So he's almost a full 5% higher than Aaron's completion percentage, right? He's got 1,000 yards passing, 8.3 average, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception for a passer rating of 113. Guys, he's projected right now, if he keeps this pace, his projection on the year is going to be 69.4% completion percentage. Obviously, I have 357 completions, 4,250 yards passing. That's more than both of the quarterbacks we just talked about, both of the Hall of Fame quarterbacks we just talked about. 34 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That blows both of their numbers out of the water. Brett had 4 more touchdown passes, but he had 9 more interceptions. That's huge, with 113 rating there. Now, keep in mind, Jordan's career averages, look at this, 64.1%. Guys, Aaron's career average was 65%. So we can start to put to bed now those accuracy concerns we had with Jordan early on. You know, It seems like he's really figured that out, and he's starting to settle in at the age of 27, just same age that Aaron was too, the year they won the Super Bowl. So, in terms of his average this year, 8.3, it's obviously higher than his career average of 7.6. And the turnover differential, touchdown to interception ratio, you can see has improved tremendously this year as well. And obviously his passer rating significantly higher at 113 this year so far compared to his 96.8 career. As of week 4, here's the big question mark. The 2025 NFL season, the Packers defense ranks 13th in scoring defense now. And obviously that big 40 burger, that hurts, right? Or 38 points, that hurts big time. That drops you down significantly. So for more context on our overall performance through week 4, they're averaging 21 points per game is what they're giving up. That's 13th best. Total defense, the Packers are ranked 8th in the league for total defense, giving up 283.3 yards per game. Rushing defense, they've been strong against the run, ranking tied for 2nd in the NFL with just 77.5 rushing yards allowed per game. And then total touchdowns, the defense has given up 9 touchdowns in total. So the one thing that I would say right now, Tim, is not on par with those other 2 Super Bowl teams is the defense, but it's early. And again, that Dallas game skews those numbers tremendously. So I'm holding out hope that what we've seen in the first 3 weeks of this defense is the more telling depiction of what this defense actually is, as opposed to that 38 points that they gave up. And I keep saying 38 because obviously we had the extra point block that got returned for 2. That's how they got 40. So any other thoughts you have on this topic before we move into chalk talk, man?
I like what you said about, kind of comparing where Jordan is now to where Aaron was similar time in his career. Really, we could go back and say that about Brett. Brett came a long way from throwing footballs into the stands for Jerry Glanville's amusement, to ending up throwing absolute missiles in Lambeau Field for us. And, even after Brett's first year, the excitement got going, but he didn't really settle into his own till, really year 2 or 3 as the starter in Green Bay. And same thing with Aaron Rodgers. So look at Jordan now. We talked about some of those concerns with accuracy. And, we had said it on this podcast a couple of years ago that you have to give them time to play through that. It comes with experience. It comes with learning how to read that defense. Or if you're a guy like Aaron Rodgers or a quarterback like Jordan Love, who played behind Aaron Rodgers his first few seasons, you know what it takes to bait a defense into the coverage that you want them to play in order to get those matchups that you want. And we're seeing that start to come together. We talked a little bit about deep ball accuracy with Jordan. That's something that I believe the more shots we take, the more that fine touch is going to, improve. And I think we just need a little bit of patience. There's a lot of football left. And as far as the defensive side, I have the utmost faith in this staff and these players on the defensive side of the ball. Just got to stay healthy, got to play through this adversity. Let's go ahead and say it now. Micah Parsons is going to get held all year long. It's going to happen. As long as he's on the football field, he's going to get held because they can't play him straight up and block him. We just hope the officials do a better job in some of these games of at least calling a few of them. But hey, the other team gets paid too, and we have to just fight through that adversity. I think once the defense comes along, there's no reason to think that we can't finish out this season strong and be contenders. Absolutely.
Yeah. And my final thoughts on that, Tim, when Jerry Jones said, hey, we had Micah and we couldn't get the job done on defense, we couldn't be a good enough defense to win a championship. He said, don't you think we learned how to play against Micah? I think that's what he meant. Yeah. They're going to be overly aggressive holding on Micah because they know the officials didn't call it when he was in Dallas either. So I honestly think that's what the old man was talking about. So
let's go, Hafley. Let's cook it up, man. Drop Micah back in coverage. Let's go. Let's put him at Mike. Whatever we got to do. Delayed blitz, touch spy, something. Let's get creative, right?
If you work a little bit of fire zone blitz and drop Micah into coverage, you're going to see 2 blockers on that side of the line go, what are we supposed to do?
Yep.
Right? That's how you win a hat count there for sure. I don't want to see it done often, but that's definitely a way to combat it. But for those of you who are watching this video later, we'll have it edited out of the live stream. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about what we just talked about? How do you think the 2025 Packers stack up against the 96 Packers championship team and the 2010 Packers championship team? We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments. Also, make sure you click subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we do go live. Tim, you ready to do some chalk talk? Big
You
dog.
already know, man.